Oh, lovely. Cut that from an LP. Hello, good day to you all, and today I'm going to do a rehouse into these Spider Shop plastic enclosures. I have cleaned them out, it's just water spots on there, but I've got two to go into these tubs, so I'll just move them out of the way for the second. And what I've got going in there, if you remember what I did last year, I called it my Lasiodora or pink birdeater tower or something. I've got 5 of these in total, but they're all growing on really well. But these two, one of them was a female and one was a male, and because I was doing like multiple things at the same time when I rehoused them, I forgot which one's which. And they're getting close to a molt, so I want to get them rehoused into something bigger, because I like having my tarantulas have a little bit more room to see what they do with the enclosure. So this is the slightly bigger ones than the other two, so they are basically juvies, but I think they're getting on to a good size now, so I want to just show you how they're doing and also rehouse them. And I was hoping that there'd be a molt in there like a previous one, because they have molted, but they completely annihilate it. So if I give them some more room, it should be better, and I'll be able to visually see them a bit better, and then I can just obviously take the molt out and rehouse them. But very keen at getting these two done, so get these LPs sorted. So first off, let's just get the enclosures and get them set up and see what I can do. There we go, so I've got some substrate in at the minute, and this is my mix of cocoa fibre and an organic sort of potting soil or compost sort of soil. And if you find that you're doing this and you still get mouldy bits and pieces within the substrate, what I found for a tip for myself is when you get bits that clump together, and it's the compost that clumps together into lumps, and you could tell the dark soil, it goes black and it clumps together, and then when you water your tarantula or what other animal you're using and the water seeps down, cocoa fibre is extremely good at extracting from one side to the other, so it just moves across a certain distance. If it touches those bits of potting soil, that absorbs it in, but it goes hard, and then that's what moulds. So all I do is I'll make sure I go through and break it up. You don't have to have any really worry about any too small bits like this. That I'll break up, because it goes like this, really solid, and if you just break it up in there, then it stops moisture sticking to those bits. So you just want it nice and fluffy, that's moist, but there's no water coming out if you squeeze that. So that's what I've done both sides, and now I don't get any mould in any of those enclosures, but I just make sure I run through and just break up all the little bits, just so they're separate, but it just gives it a better mixture. And also it makes it a little bit more clay-like, so the tarantulas can shape it as well, which I absolutely love. But it's still, to your eye there, looks like cocoa fibre. It's absolutely brilliant, but just run your fingers through, don't be afraid to get dirty. Right, but now let's just see if I can get a piece of cork bark. Right, so that's it. So they're both done, facing me, so I'll just give you a quick look on the inside. That's it, so they've got plenty of substrate in there as well, because I think they're going to turf it around. And what I've done is I've literally just carpeted the whole thing. So this is absolutely huge for them. So they've got plenty of room to like do what they want to do. But what I've done is, because I left them out in here and they've just been out and they haven't had a hide, they're so used to being out in the open to the point I can take the lid off, which you'll see in a second, and they just stay there. Sometimes they get a bit skittish, but they just settle down a lot quicker. I'm just intrigued to see if they actually use the hide that I've done, or they start turfing out soil and moving this moss, the carpet moss that I put in, because I've done some research on where they actually live, and they live in areas like this, and they will make their home in the bank and then traverse out, and they get the humidity from this moss. But obviously with LPs, as you know, they just move soil around everywhere, so if they start turfing it out, I'll clean it up over the next few days to a week, wherever it does, just so I can try and make it look nice. And then I just put a little artificial plant in there, and the same in the other one with just little bits of debris, and they've got good hides in there as well. This one's slightly larger, because I think I'm going to put the one I think's a female into this one, and then the male into this one here. So let me just get them out and we'll have a look. I actually can't tell anymore, they're both just as big as each other, but this one has got a huge abdomen. but I know for a fact one of these is a male and one of them is a female. So you can see the size of that one with the big bum. And you can see it's been moving around some substrate in there, but not much. They've just been sat out there for over a year now, not really doing anything. And the same with this one. They're both actually identical. I can't see any difference, although this one here that you're looking at is slightly blacker on the legs than this one. I think this one is the female, because this one here I think is a molt in front. So I'm going to put the female in the wider one and then the male in the one on the left. Well, in fact, I might do it the other way, I'm not too sure. But there we go. So there's both of them there. Pretty much identical. So let's see if I can get one in. See if we can get this to go in the way we want. Got my little bitey stick, because it's more than likely going to bite straight away. Oh no, good. Oh, lovely. Cut that from an LP. I have not had that from these, or in fact any of my LPs. Come on. There we go. Come on. Nice new home for you. I absolutely love that little fret display. Oh, you're going to kick a couple of hairs? See if you go down and find the hide. Just encourage you to go in, see what happens. Because obviously they've not had a hide for well over a year. There we go, straight at the entrance. And I think that looks really, really good. I think I'll leave that with the lid off for a second, and then I will see if I can get the other one in. I've got loads of web coming off here. You can't really see it. I don't think the camera's picking it off. But that is absolutely stunning. Right, let's see what happens with this one. Brilliant. Got the size of that abdomen. Come on, over you go. Do not want this big one to fall. There you go, nearly there. And there we have it. That looks absolutely brilliant. I like the contrast of the colours of the moss with the dark hide, and then obviously the tarantula there. I wonder if he or she's going to go down and go in. Whether they can sense the darkness and they feel safe. But like I say, these have been raised without any hide whatsoever. There you go, walking away. Let me just see if I can encourage it in. Come on. Just curious to see what they will do. No, see, they don't go in. Just sat out on there, blocking the door. But the other one has gone into the hide. So I think they will settle in there very, very nicely. They're almost just identical in whatever they do. That's what I've noticed when I keep these two together. But this one has got an almighty abdomen, so this one definitely doesn't need feeding anymore. This one's still technically got a large abdomen, but nothing like the other one. Lovely sheen of colours on them there. The salmon pink hairs, that start getting brighter as they get older. But the dark black colours, that is gorgeous. Went to run on the camera. Look at the size of that, that is one fat booty. But there we go. So there you go, my LPs done up in these big enclosures. I think that looks really, really good. Loads of substrate if they want to dig down. I'm so interested to see what they do over the next few days that I've given them this amount of substrate. Because if you look at this enclosure, that's all they've had since the sling, and that is a couple of inches, but they've only had less than an inch of substrate there. So I've given them so much more to work with to dig down to see if they will actually burrow now. I'm just intrigued to see if they'll do anything with the hide burrow down there, because I've not given them any sort of hide in these, but these are perfect to raise them in because they grow super fast. And like I said, it gets them used to being sat out in the open, because the only thing I don't want is a giant LP when they get big. And I've had a monster female before that is skittish at the sight of seeing you. That is one of the worst things, because then they kick hairs all the time. And if you notice, one of them went into threat, but it didn't kick any hairs, and that's one of the things I don't want, which is really, really good. So the easy way to do that is give them no hide, give them room so they've got to traverse the enclosure, but they don't just get cornered into a corner to feel safe. So they get used to being sat out in the open. As you saw there, they were both fine. So I'm hoping they'll do the exact same in here. And well, we'll see. So look out for the next update on those. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next video.